Hello, this is a video about Python and ARM assembly, and before you switch off, let's have a look at what it covers. So first thing, we're going to use Python to learn assembly. We're going to make something with Python, and it's going to enable us to better understand and work with assembly as we go along. This includes Python, Flask, the Flask framework, Pytest for testing. We will also use Selenium to improve the testing experience, i.e. save time, automate it. We're going to use HTML, some JavaScript, and we are going to learn assembly. Only at a basic level, but that is the purpose of this video and the entire project. But along the way, you will learn all of these other things, or at least see an introduction or an overview of what I've done here. So let's go. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that introduction, and now we are going to look at the Python code. We've also got the functions, again in Python, which are in AS1, which basically includes the Keystone Unicorn modules, and you can read all this: assembling the ARM code, code successfully assembled. These are obviously the print statements, which you will see in the terminal, but also I'm returning some returning here case error if there's an error from the try except, and at the very end I'm returning a tuple. So the tuple is actually the main output of this function. So it's just one function, ask ARM. I'm passing in a variable called ARM code. The ARM code comes from the text area in the web page which I created with Flask, the hello.html. So these, I'm passing out 4 parts of the tuple, so that the tuple actually has 4 items, index 0, 1, 2, 3, and what's passed from those gets returned via render template to the web page. So when you run the app root, you go to the default URL. If you do a post, if method request equals post, then the contents of the text area get fed into the request, which then calls ask ARM. We return the tuple. The values from the tuple are then printed back on to the hello.html. So let's run it. And you can see down here. Just cancel that. I had it running earlier. Run it again. There we go. So just remember, this is a development server that you use with Flask. If you want to deploy it professionally, you would use NGINX or Apache, and you would have to do a bit of, you'd probably set up what's called you'd set it up as a proxy, and yeah, that's beyond the scope of this video. I have done a video about that previously, so I'll try and remember to put the link up. So right, let's go to the link, and let me just zoom in on this. So from the library, we'll choose, in the earlier video, you probably saw numeric 1, so I've added numeric 2, which is a loop. And what it's doing is it's basically putting 5 into R0, and then R0 times R0 multiplied, and then you put it back in R0. So you read it kind of right to left, so R0 times R0, so R0 there, multiplied by R0, which is 25, and then put the answer back into R0. So yeah, down here if we run it, you see R0 is actually 25. And number 3, I'm using SP and FP here, which are frame pointer and stack pointer, and I'm also printing an address for a change. So we get a memory address there in R1. R1 is register 1. If you're not familiar, it's all about the processor here. It's not about the software or anything, or the operating system. It's all about the processor. So right, that's as much as I've done so far, but let me just show you. We'll just zoom back out to 100%. And the other thing which I've also added, let me just bring back up the sidebar. The other thing which I've added, you will see tests. And if anybody's into, well, probably not, but if you're web scraping and Selenium, then this might be of interest. This is how to use Selenium properly. But Selenium, you can use it what you want for what you want. But this is an implementation of Selenium WebDriver using Python and Pytest. So there's lots of imports. It's one of the things that annoys me about Selenium is all of these, convoluted names, shall we say. Anyway, do all these imports. Remember by is a new, or it's a recent addition. The other thing you need to remember with Selenium is you need either, let me just scroll up, see that, no, let's drag it across. Chromedriver, so you either need Chromedriver or Gecko driver. You need a WebDriver, so either Firefox or Chrome. And the function, because it's going to be running with Pytest, the function begins with test underscore. I'll just put ensure Chromedriver is in the same directory because this is going on to GitHub and anybody else can download it, use it, whatever. Chromedriver equals webdriver.chrome, so you're basically telling Selenium what version of WebDriver it is, i.e. Chrome or Firefox. That's the URL of my Flask page. We want it to maximize the window when it runs. And this is WebDriver wait, so basically it's saying wait until the page is fully loaded before you try doing anything. Select Chromedriver, find element by name, library, select index. So what this is doing, this bit here, is automating the clicking of the drop down. And I've just chosen index 2. I could have chosen any of the 0, 1, 2, or 3 because the drop down indexes go from 0. And then Chromedriver.quit, just remember to do that, it's important, otherwise you could end up with loads and loads of memory being used up and so on. This was my note, which I got from, can't remember, but explicit wait is used to specify a wait condition for a particular element. Here we define to wait for a certain condition to occur before proceeding further in the code. There can be instances when a particular element takes more than usual time to load. In that case, we need to set a huge time to implicit wait, as this will make the browser to wait for the same time for every element. To avoid that situation, explicit wait is used by defining separate wait time only on the required element. So what we're saying here is allow longer than usual just for this one element. This is kind of example. This is just an example. To be honest, because it's running in Flask, it loads so quickly, I needn't have done that wait at all. But so I expect you probably want to see the actual test run. So let me bring up, there's 2 ways to do it. I could either do it through, let me just bring up and check. Okay, so that's still running. I've still got Flask running. So for this test to work, you need Flask running, and you could code that, but I'm just doing it. I'm doing it this way because I know that Flask is already running. And I also need to collapse that, and I need to bring up the activity bar. And I need to run the, because I've zoomed in so far for this video, I've actually lost my test. There we go. You see the test tube just up there, and that's triggering the Pytest. If you haven't already set that up, you will, when the first time you click on the, I call it a test tube, I think it is. The first time you run it, you'll need to specify whether you want to do unit test or Pytest. And that ran, I think I've got always on top. No, I haven't. What's going on? Was it because it was already open? Let's run it again. Right, so what Selenium will do will actually open up the browser and run the test, so any second now. There we go. It's opened the screen, it's clicked the drop down, and it's given us a result. So what was the result? The result was this one, which was from, it was the one that included the stack pointer, so it's got to be, It will have been the option 3. Yeah, that's right, because I specified index 2, which is option 3, because 0, 1. Sorry, 0, 0, 1, 2. None that gives you 42949 blah blah blah, which is what we just got back here. So again, if you don't have, let me try and open another window if I can duplicate that. What do we want to do? We need to go cd to tests, Python -m Pytest, and that's obviously the command line version, and it does just the same as what you just saw in VS Code. Gives you nice output, and you can, if there is actually a plugin that you can get it to create you an HTML page of the result or results. Obviously, I've only got one test here, so it's probably no point in doing that. But that's one pass, 3.25 seconds. So yeah, that's probably, well, it's better for capturing output, but just for if you're a lone wolf coder, you're just doing it by yourself, and you just want to just automate the hell out of your code testing, and you don't need to be part of a big team or pass your results to anybody else, then yeah, the VS Code clicky button thing is nice because it just saves time. So what was the other file I was going to discuss? Hello, which is the HTML. Yeah, I'm just going to show the HTML page. So nothing very exciting here really. I'm using Bootstrap, so line 6 is Bootstrap CSS. So to use that, you just do that. The CSS for the notepad effect is here, and that's just 3 very faint colors which are repeating, and I've got them repeating at the same spacing as the text. CodeMonkey King recommended me to use CodeMirror, but I just want it, in the end I thought, oh, I'm just going to keep it keep it minimal, and I didn't want too many imports, or I've got enough already. So Bootstrap JavaScripts. I've got that in twice, and I've got Bootstrap 5.02, this.js, Bootstrap bundle, bundle. Oh, that's the actual script. Yeah, so we've got the CSS Bootstrap, and then we've got the JavaScript Bootstrap. It's been a while since I've done much HTML. I do apologize. Right, so that's the drop down, and so obviously going forward, as I probably develop the project, I'll add some more default assembly options. And this here is what you actually see in the text area. So this is a switch case statement here inside JavaScript. So based upon what you choose from the drop down, that case will then transplant that back into the text area. And then finally, you've got submit button, which submits using post. And once the Python code in AS1 is returned via Flask back here, then these values are what get returned from Flask once Flask has done its clever stuff over here. So name 0123 end up back here. And this is obviously the Ginger syntax because we're using Flask. So that is kind of a whistle-stop tour of the code. If you want to learn assembly, then there are better tutorials than my minimalist example. But really, this was a starting point to help me learn some assembly. And so what we've got here, as per the introduction, we've got Python, we've got Flask, we've got some ASM assembly for ARM. Remember, it's for ARM only, so each version of assembly varies. It's slightly different flavor depending upon the architecture of the processor. yeah, so then we use Selenium, and then we use Pytest, and then HTML and JavaScript, which probably aren't my strongest points, but yeah, it's working. So happy days, and let's just run it one more time, just for the grand finale. And CodeRunner. CodeRunner does this, and sometimes I just think, oh, it's easier just to run it command line, isn't it? And there we go. So that is Python 360 ARM assembly, and I'd like to thank you for watching and wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up. I'll put this link on a link to this code on GitHub if you would like it. So if nobody asks for it, I won't. But if somebody would want it, then I'll put it on. That's kind of my call to action, I think they call it on the YouTube. You know, they're like the YouTube creator videos where they try and tell you how to make your channel more successful. I kind of given up on that, really. It's not this water off a duck's back, really. I'm just here to try and learn things which I find interesting, and if any of you find them interesting, let me know. If anybody does want me to do a specific topic, then let me know, but otherwise I'm just going to keep on doing whatever I like. And on that note, thanks for watching, and see you soon. Oh man, it's what the fuck? Blah 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 blah. Let's check this shit out. That's no fucking good. Hello?
Hello, Dr. Pi?
Yeah.
We need you to do a video about assembly language with Python code.
Probably not this week.
Please could you do it as soon as possible, as we are getting terrible view numbers on YouTube.
Okay. No. I'm not touching Windows. Nor C#. No. No. No AWS. No. No, go away. Bye. What the fuck? Fuck this shit. Fuck off. So this is how we roll in 2022. Making a brew. Grotty in that. We used to have programs on TV saying how the future was going to be better. They said robots would be doing everything. They're not cleaning my house, are they? They're not keeping me warm. They're not paying my energy bills, so 2022. Roll on, 2023.